The Crash in the Clouds. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The night sky burned in streaks of white and violet as Captain Raiden's ship cut through the storm. He had flown through war zones before, crossed asteroid fields, even escaped pirate ambushes. But he had never seen anything like this. The sensor screamed warnings, metal groaned, and lightning shaped like claws wrapped around the hull. "Hold together," he whispered to the ship, but the controls were dead. The sky twisted into a whirlpool of colors. Blue light swallowed the stars and gravity tore him downward. For a brief second he saw a planet below, half covered in clouds, half in strange green light. Then everything went white. When he woke, silence surrounded him. His head throbbed and smoke filled the air. The crash had ripped the ship apart. Half of it was buried in the soft earth, half hanging from strange roots that glowed faintly under the mist. He unstrapped himself and crawled out. The ground felt strange, almost alive, pulsing beneath his boots like it had a heartbeat. He looked up. The trees were enormous, taller than skyscrapers, their leaves as big as sails. The air shimmered with tiny golden lights that floated like dust motes but seemed to watch him. It was beautiful, yet heavy with tension. He checked his communicator. No signal, no coordinates, no reply, just static. He decided to move. He needed to find shelter, water, or some high ground to get a signal. Every step made the earth vibrate, like the world was aware of his presence. Then he heard it. A distant rumble, slow and deep, not like thunder. More like footsteps. The sound grew louder. The ground shook harder. A flock of glowing bird-like creatures burst from the treetops. He ducked behind a broken engine piece. Peering through the mist, that was when he saw the shadow. It was moving between the trees. Tall, wide, graceful but powerful. The shape paused, and something glinted. Golden eyes. Enormous, round, staring right at him. Raiden froze, his heart pounded. He reached for his weapon, but his hands trembled. The shadow leaned forward, and he saw her. It was not a machine, not a monster, but a woman. A giantess. Her skin glowed faintly silver in the moonlight. Her hair like flowing fire. She crouched down, and the ground cracked under her weight. Her face was beautiful but alien, her pupils vertical, her gaze sharp. She whispered something in a language he did not understand. The sound was soft yet echoed through the air like thunder. He tried to move back, but she extended a finger, almost as long as his body, and touched the wreckage, testing it, studying him. Raiden's breathing turned shallow. He had read about lost colonies, rumors of ancient races, but never believed such things existed. The giantess tilted her head, curious. Her eyes narrowed as if recognizing him from something old. A story, perhaps. Then she smiled, slow and dangerous. The mist thickened, and suddenly more shapes appeared behind her. 2, then 3, then a whole group of them. Their sizes varied, but all were towering. Their voices mixed in a deep murmur. A language filled with echoes. One of them pointed toward him, another laughed. A sound that rolled like thunder. He stepped back. The ground behind him gave way, and he slipped down a small hill. His hand hit the communicator again. Still nothing when he looked up. They were closer, their faces now clear. All women, tall as towers, dressed in woven armor and jewelry made of bones and glowing stones. Their eyes glowed in shades of gold and amber. One of them spoke, her tone commanding. The others stepped aside, and the first giantess, and the one with fire-like hair, came forward. She bent down until her face filled the sky before him. She studied him carefully, then whispered a single word. He did not know what it meant, but her expression said it all. Curiosity, hunger, and something older than desire. She reached out and closed her fingers around him gently but firmly. His world spun as she lifted him high into the air. He tried to shout, but the wind swallowed his voice from above. He saw how vast their world was, endless forests, glowing rivers, mountains shaped like claws. The mist swirled below like living clouds. The giantess looked up at the storm still glowing in the sky, then back at him. She spoke again, her voice soft but filled with power. Raiden's vision blurred. The pressure of her touch and the heat of her skin made his senses fade. He felt something pull him, like gravity itself was dragging him through her gaze. Then darkness again when he opened his eyes. He was lying on something soft, the air smelled sweet. Around him were massive walls made of woven silk and vines. It was not a cell, it was a nest outside. He heard booming footsteps and voices. He looked up and saw a figure standing at the entrance, the same giantess. Her golden eyes glowing, her lips curved in a strange smile. "Welcome, little star," she said, her voice a soft thunder. You fell from the sky, and now you belong to us. Raiden's breath caught. The meaning of her words struck deep. He had not just crashed on an unknown world. He had fallen into the realm of giants, and their desire was not just hunger. It was something much older, something that could either save or consume him. The Giantess's World, HFY Sci-Fi Story. When Raiden opened his eyes again, the soft glow of dawn filled the chamber. He was lying on a surface that looked like silk but felt alive. It moved slightly beneath him, warm and breathing. He sat up slowly, his body aching, his uniform torn, his communicator cracked. Around him everything was enormous. The walls stretched high like cliffs, made from vines woven together, golden light dripping through small holes above. He stood and looked around. On one side he saw objects that looked like furniture, but all built for beings 10 times his size. A bowl big enough to swim in, a spoon like a paddle, and near the wall, a piece of cloth hanging that looked like a giant's robe. Every part of this place reminded him how small and fragile he was now. Outside, deep voices echoed. Mixed with laughter, the air smelled sweet. Like fruit and metal, he walked to the edge of the nest. Peeking through the curtain, his heart almost stopped. Below him stretched a village, no, a city, but built for giants. Massive structures made of stone and glowing crystal rose into the mist. Giantesses moved between them, their steps shaking the earth slightly. Some carried baskets larger than shuttles. Others rode creatures with 6 legs and wings. The scale of everything was beyond reason. It was beautiful, alive, and terrifying. The same giantess who had captured him appeared at the entrance. Her golden eyes met his, and she smiled softly. "You wake, little star," she said. Her voice rolled like music and thunder mixed together. She wore armor that shimmered with symbols, each glowing faintly with energy. Raiden backed away slightly, his instinct screamed danger. But her eyes didn't hold cruelty, only curiosity. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice trembling. She tilted her head, then crouched low. Her huge face filled his view. "You are in our realm. The land of Varnara," she said slowly, pronouncing each word carefully. "You fell from the sky, and the queen wishes to see you." Before he could answer, another shadow appeared behind her. A taller figure stepped inside. The queen herself. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes deep violet. A crown of crystal rested on her forehead. She carried herself with calm power, like the planet itself obeyed her will. "So it is true," the queen said, her voice deeper, older. "A child of the stars has fallen again." She extended her hand toward him. "Come, small one, your arrival was foretold." Raiden hesitated. He wanted to resist, to demand answers, but the ground beneath him trembled as if urging him to obey. The queen's hand, though large, moved gently. She scooped him up with surprising care. Her skin was smooth and warm, almost humming with energy. Outside, the city roared with sound. Giantesses bowed as their queen passed. They whispered words that echoed like wind through mountains. The Starborn returns. The promise lives. The hunger ends. Raiden didn't understand their language, but he could feel the weight of it. Something about him mattered here, something ancient. The queen carried him into a massive hall carved inside a mountain of crystal. Blue light flowed across the walls. Forming moving patterns, it felt sacred, timeless. In the center of the hall stood a pool of liquid silver, rippling though there was no wind. "This world is alive," the queen said as she lowered her hand, letting him stand near the edge of the pool. She breathes, she hungers, she remembers. Raiden stared at the pool. His reflection shimmered, then changed. For a heartbeat he saw not himself, but a figure glowing with light standing beside a giantess crowned in fire. He blinked, and the image was gone. What was that? He whispered. The queen smiled faintly. "The past, perhaps, or the future," she said. "Our world was bound to the stars once, before the curse came." "Curse?" Raiden asked, but she only looked away, her expression heavy with pain. Suddenly the ground shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The queen turned sharply. Her guards, towering women with spears made of crystal hydra, rushed in. "The hunger rises again," one said. "The great forest stirs." The queen frowned, then looked at Raiden. "Your coming has awakened her," she said. "You must be tested." Before he could ask what that meant, the guards surrounded him. Their movements were graceful but fast. They carried him through long tunnels that opened into blinding sunlight. Ahead lay an enormous arena, carved into the earth itself, surrounded by thousands of giantesses watching from above. Raiden's heart pounded. The air shimmered with heat. The queen's voice thundered from above. Let the trial of hunger begin. A massive gate opened on the other side. From it came a roar so deep it shook his bones. A creature crawled out, a mix of shadow, flesh and stone. Its eyes burned like suns. Its mouth split into rows of jagged teeth. Raiden stumbled backward, panic gripping him. The crowd roared. The queen raised her hand. Show us, Starborn, she said. Show us what the stars have made of you. He had no weapon, no armor, only his courage and the sharp piece of metal he'd salvaged from the crash. The creature lunged, the ground split, and he rolled aside just in time. Dust and fire filled the air. His instincts kicked in. He moved fast, using his size to his advantage, diving beneath its legs. Striking weak spots, the crowd gasped. The queen's eyes widened. For a moment silence fell. Then the creature collapsed, trembling, and the arena shook with cheers. Raiden fell to his knees, breathing hard. He looked up, the queen smiling faintly. Perhaps the prophecy speaks true, she said. The little star burns brighter than we thought. He didn't know what prophecy she meant. But one thing was clear. He was no longer just a prisoner. He had become part of something vast and dangerous. The trial of hunger. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The cheers from the giantesses still echoed through the valley. But Raiden did not feel victory. His hands shook, his breath came hard, and his heart pounded like thunder. He looked down at the fallen beast, its body fading into dust, leaving behind strange glowing symbols on the ground. They pulsed once, then sank into the soil. The queen's voice carried across the arena. Calm but powerful. He has survived the trial, she said. The hunger accepts him. The crowd fell silent. The air felt heavier, colder. Raiden's skin prickled. He didn't understand what she meant, but every instinct told him the words were not a blessing. The guards lifted him gently, carrying him through a narrow stone passage that led back to the mountain halls. The queen followed, her steps shaking the floor with soft rumble. Her eyes never left him, not with anger but with deep curiosity. When they entered the crystal chamber again, she motioned for the guards to leave. They obeyed without question. The door closed, silence returned. You have awakened something, she said slowly. The hunger that sleeps beneath our world has stirred because of you. Raiden frowned. I don't understand, the queen knelt, her enormous form lowering until her face was level with him. Our planet is alive, she said. Varnara was once a paradise fed by the stars. But when our ancestors turned against the balance, the planet punished us. It cursed us with endless hunger. A hunger that no food can fill. A hunger that only burns stronger with time. He looked at her, her words almost too strange to believe. Hunger for what? Her violet eyes met his. For life, she whispered. For connection. For something we lost when the stars abandoned us. He stepped back slightly. And what does that have to do with me? The queen's lips curved faintly. You are the first human to fall from the sky in 1,000 years. Your arrival matches the prophecy carved into the roots of our world. She turned and touched the silver pool again. The surface rippled, forming shapes, a human standing beside a giantess, both surrounded by light. The small one will awaken the sleeping heart, she said softly. He will either feed the hunger or end it. Before Raiden could answer, the chamber door opened. A younger giantess entered. She had bright golden eyes and hair the color of sunlight. She looked nervous but brave. The queen smiled gently. Lyra, come. Lyra bowed her head, then looked at Raiden with curiosity and kindness. He is smaller than I imagined, she said. Her voice was soft but carried a strange warmth. The queen nodded. He has passed the trial. He is now under your watch. Lyra's eyes widened. Mine? Yes, the queen said. You will teach him our ways. You will help him understand the bond. Raiden frowned. Bond? What bond? The queen stood tall again, her eyes glowing faintly. All will be revealed in time, she said. But remember, little star, desire, and danger are the same here. The more you are wanted, the closer you come to being devoured. She turned away, leaving him alone with Lyra. Lyra knelt beside him. Her golden eyes studied his face. You are not what I expected, she said softly. Most of your kind fear us. But you looked at the queen and did not tremble. He gave a small, tired smile. Maybe I'm too tired to be afraid, she laughed. The sound light like wind through leaves. Then you are braver than you know. Lyra lifted him carefully into her palm. Her skin was warm, the rhythm of her heartbeat deep beneath it. She carried him through glowing corridors that opened into the outer world again. The light of the twin moons painted the forest in shades of blue and silver. This is our world, she said, her tone calm but proud. Varnara was once the cradle of gods, now it is a cage. Every heartbeat of this planet reminds us of the hunger we carry. Raiden looked down at the landscape. Everything seemed alive. The rivers pulsed with light. The trees whispered and even the air hummed softly. It's beautiful, he said. Lyra nodded. Yes. But beauty here always hides danger. They reached a vast clearing where strange crystals grew from the ground like flowers. Each one hummed with faint music. This is where I live, Lyra said, lowering him onto a smooth stone platform. And this will be your place for now. He looked around, amazed by the scale. You live alone? She hesitated. Yes, she said quietly. I do not belong among the others. They say I am too gentle, too weak. I do not like the old ways. Her words carried sadness. He looked up at her enormous eyes. Maybe that's why the queen chose you, he said. She smiled faintly. Maybe. As night fell, Lyra sat near him, her huge form casting a warm glow from the crystals reflecting off her skin. Do you really come from the stars? She asked. Yes, he said softly, but right now, I just want to go home. She looked at him, her gaze softening. Perhaps your home is not where you came from, but where you are meant to be. Before he could answer, the ground trembled again. The crystals flickered, the wind grew hot. Lyra's expression changed to fear. The hunger moves again, she whispered. It senses you. From the forest came a sound and a deep rumble. Like breathing, trees bent, shadows stretched. The light faded. Lyra stood quickly, placing Raiden back in a safe spot. Stay here, she said firmly. Do not move. He wanted to argue, but the air itself seemed to thicken. He watched her step into the darkness, her figure glowing faintly as she drew a weapon of shining crystal. Her voice echoed, calm but strong. You are not welcome here. Ancient hunger. The forest roared in response. Raiden watched in silence, his heart racing for the first time. He realized when whatever haunted this world was not just legend, it was alive and it wanted him. The Forbidden Connection. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The night of the tremor left Raiden sleepless. He sat on the smooth stone platform, listening to the strange whispers of the forest. The air smelled of metal and flowers, heavy and electric. Every few seconds the ground pulsed softly. Like the planet was breathing, Lyra had not returned since the tremor. Her last words still echoed in his mind. The hunger senses you. He did not know what that meant, but the silence after her disappearance felt wrong. Too still, too quiet. When the first light of morning cut through the mist, a shadow fell over him. Lyra appeared again. Her golden eyes dimmed, her steps slow. Her armor was cracked, and dark lines glowed faintly along her arm. Like veins of burning silver you fought it, Raiden said. Looking up, she nodded weakly. It was only a fragment of the hunger, she whispered. But it grows stronger every time the queen draws power from the planet, he frowned. The queen feeds from it? Yes, Lyra said softly. It keeps our world alive but drains our souls little by little. That is the curse. We live forever, yet we are always starving. Always wanting. She sat down heavily, the ground trembling under her weight. Her huge fingers brushed against the stone beside him. When you came, the hunger changed, she said. It began to call your name, not in our tongue, but in the voice of the stars. Raiden's skin chilled. What do you mean by that? Lyra looked away, her golden hair falling like rivers of light. There is something inside you. Something the queen fears, she said. That is why she tests you. Why she keeps you here, he hesitated. And what do you want? Her eyes lifted to his, filled with sorrow. I want freedom, she said quietly. And I think you are the key. Raiden felt a strange warmth rise in his chest. He did not know if it was fear, hope, or something deeper. Freedom for you? Or your world? For both, she said. But freedom has a cost. The bond must be made. The bond, he repeated, remembering the queen's words. What is it? Lyra looked at him for a long moment before answering. It is connection, she said, a merging of soul and will. The old ones called it the star bond. It was once shared between our kind and yours, when humans first walked among the stars. But when the wars came, the bond was forbidden. The balance was broken and the hunger was born. Her voice trembled slightly. To create the bond again, one must surrender completely. Raiden's breath caught. Surrender? Yes, Lyra said. Not in weakness, but in trust. You must open your mind, your memories, your heart. The planet will test you. It will know your truth. He stared at her. And if I fail? Then the hunger devours everything, she said softly. Including me. The silence stretched between them. The forest hummed around them like it was listening. Finally, Raiden said quietly, "Then we try." Lyra's eyes widened. "You would risk yourself for a world not your own?" He smiled faintly. "I'm human," he said. "We don't abandon those who ask for help." For the first time, Lyra's face softened into something more than duty. Her lips curved into a fragile smile. "Then come," she said. "There is a place where the bond can be made." She lifted him into her hands and began walking through the forest. The air grew thicker, filled with floating lights that moved like fireflies. The ground glowed faintly with symbols that pulsed as they passed. The deeper they went, the more alive the world seemed to become. Trees turned their branches as if watching. Rivers whispered in low tones. They reached a massive clearing. At its center stood a tree so large it touched the clouds. Its trunk shimmered like silver glass and its roots glowed blue. Around it floated hundreds of smaller lights, souls perhaps. Lost and waiting, Lyra knelt, placing Raiden on the glowing roots. "This is the heart of Varnara," she said, "the oldest place of power. It is where our fate will be decided." Raiden felt the air hum around him, like invisible hands touching his skin, his mind filled with voices, whispers of sorrow, laughter and ancient pain. Lyra closed her eyes, her voice turning into a chant. The words vibrated through the ground. The lights around them began to move. Forming circles, her body glowed with golden fire, and her eyes turned bright white. "Step forward, Starborn," she said. "The heart is calling you." Raiden stepped closer. The roots beneath him pulsed like veins. The light grew blinding. He saw flashes. The queen in her throne, worlds burning, human fleets crossing galaxies, and something dark spreading like a shadow through stars. He gasped, falling to his knees. The ground cracked. The light of the tree turned red for a moment. Lyra cried out, "Fight it!" "Raiden!" she shouted. "It knows your fear." "Do not let it take you." He closed his eyes, focusing on the sound of her voice, her warmth, her courage. It anchored him. The darkness shrank. The light returned when he opened his eyes again. He was glowing faintly, his veins shining with silver light. Lyra's fire dimmed slowly. She reached toward him, her massive hand trembling. "It worked," she whispered. "You have bonded with the heart." The forest grew silent. The planet's pulse slowed to a calm rhythm. But then a low, ancient voice echoed through the air. Deep and cold. "The bond is forbidden," it said. "You have awakened what should never rise." Lyra's face turned pale. "No," she whispered. "She knows who." Raiden asked. "The queen," Lyra said, standing, her armor glowing once more. "She is coming." Above them, lightning split the sky. The mist burned away, revealing the shape of the queen descending on wings of energy, her eyes blazing violet fire. Lyra stepped in front of Raiden. "Run," she said firmly. "Do not look back." Raiden shook his head. "Not without you," Lyra smiled sadly. "Then hold on, little star. Because the storm has only just begun. The storm of desire." HFY Sci-Fi Story. The wind screamed through the valley as Lyra and Raiden ran. The sky split with lightning that glowed violet and gold. The ground trembled under the weight of something ancient and furious. Above them, the queen descended through the storm like a god of vengeance, her eyes burning with violet fire. Lyra clutched Raiden close to her chest as she ran between trees taller than towers. Each step shook the ground. "She will destroy everything," Lyra whispered. "The queen has lost control of the hunger." Raiden could feel her heartbeat racing through her hand. It was strong but unsteady. "We can stop her," he said, his voice shaking. "The bond changed us. Maybe it can stop the hunger too." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly as she looked down at him. "You don't understand," she said. "The queen is the hunger now." The forest exploded behind them. Trees shattered into splinters as violet fire poured across the land. The queen's voice thundered through the air. You dare break the sacred law, child of Varnara, she roared. You bond with a creature of dust and weakness. Lyra turned sharply, her golden hair whipping through the storm. He is not weak, she shouted. He is what we lost. The queen raised her hand and the sky obeyed. Lightning fell like rain, striking the trees. The earth, the rivers, the whole planet seemed to scream. Raiden felt the power in the air, raw and endless. He could see the bond between him and Lyra glowing like a silver thread, pulsing in rhythm with their hearts. Lyra, he said, if we can link to the heart, maybe we can channel it. She looked down, confused. Channel it? Yes, he said. You said this world is alive. Maybe it doesn't want destruction, maybe it wants balance. Lyra hesitated. The storm roaring around them. Her golden eyes searched his face, and something inside her shifted. Then we try together, she said. They stopped running, standing on a cliff overlooking the glowing forest below. The queen landed opposite them, her wings spreading wide. Her armor cracked and her voice echoed with rage and sorrow. You do not understand what you awaken, she said. The bond will not save you. It will consume you both. Raiden stepped forward, small before her massive form. Maybe, he said, but I'm done watching worlds die because someone's afraid to try. The queen raised her hand, ready to strike, but Lyra shouted. Now. They joined hands, her enormous golden fingers wrapping around his small frame. The bond burst alive. Light exploded from them, blinding and white. The storm froze midair. Lightning hung like threads of glass, and the ground cracked beneath their feet. Energy poured from Lyra's body, flowing into Raiden and back again. Their thoughts merged, their pain, their fear, their memories, all became one for a moment. There was no giantess, no human, only two hearts beating in the rhythm of a living planet. The queen hesitated, her fury breaking into disbelief. Impossible, she whispered. No one can control the hunger. But the light kept spreading. The trees stopped burning, the rivers cooled. The mist turned to silver rain. The forest began to glow softly as if waking from a long nightmare. Raiden felt his body change, his skin glowing faintly like Lyra's, his senses expanding. He could feel the pulse of the planet beneath him, the heartbeat of Varnara itself. He saw everything, every life, every pain, every memory the world carried. Lyra's voice echoed in his mind. Gentle and warm, do you feel it, Starborn? Yes, he answered, it's alive and it's afraid, then help it remember who we are, she said. They reached deeper into the light, touching the planet's mind. It was ancient, broken, and hungry for warmth. Raiden whispered through the bond, you are not alone anymore. The ground shook once more, but this time not with fury, with release. The light spread outward like sunrise. Swallowing the storm, the queen screamed. Clutching her chest, the violet flames faded from her eyes, replaced by tears when the light faded. The forest stood still again. The queen knelt, her wings broken. Her crown cracked, she looked at them with disbelief. The hunger, she said weakly, it's quiet. Lyra held Raiden close, exhaustion on her face. It's not gone, she said. Just sleeping. Raiden looked at the queen, his voice calm but firm. You don't need to feed it anymore, he said. You just need to listen. The queen lowered her gaze, her anger replaced by grief. I have ruled through fear for too long, she whispered. Perhaps it is time for hope. Thunder rolled far away, but it sounded softer now. Like a sigh, Lyra turned to Raiden, her voice trembling. You saved us, he shook his head slowly. No, we saved us. The queen stood, her eyes now gentle. The bond has returned, she said. The curse may yet be broken, but the world must heal. Raiden felt the glow fading from his skin. His body weak, his knees shaking, Lyra caught him carefully, her touch gentle. Rest, Starborn, she said. You've done enough. The storm clouds began to break apart, revealing the stars above. For the first time since his crash, Raiden saw the night sky again, vast and endless. The same stars he once flew among, but now they looked different. Alive, he smiled faintly. Maybe, he whispered. I finally found what I was meant to protect. Lyra smiled softly. And maybe I finally found someone who reminded me what it means to feel. The wind grew calm. The trees whispered, and the light of the heart shimmered across the horizon. But far away, deep under the ground, something stirred again, slow and ancient. A whisper rising from the core of the planet. Balance never lasts, it said. Every light casts a shadow. Raiden's heart skipped a beat as he felt the faint echo through the bond. Lyra's expression darkened slightly. "Did you hear that?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "It's not over yet." The stars flickered, the ground pulsed once, and the Queen turned her gaze toward the mountains. "Then we prepare," she said. "Because the next storm will not come from the sky. It will rise from within, the surrender." HFY Sci-Fi Story. The storm was gone, but the silence that followed felt heavier than thunder. The forest stood still beneath the pale moons, each tree glowing faintly like a sleeping guardian. Raiden sat beside Lyra on the edge of a cliff. The world of Varnara spread beneath them like a living sea of light. His hand still glowed faintly from the bond. Silver threads tracing across his veins, he felt stronger and weaker at the same time. The connection between him and Lyra pulsed softly, each beat a whisper of warmth and memory. Lyra looked at him with quiet sadness. "The Queen has called the elders," she said softly. "They will decide what must be done with the bond. They fear what we have created." Raiden nodded slowly. "Because they don't understand it." "They understand enough to be afraid," Lyra said. "The hunger sleeps, but the bond ties us both to it. If one of us breaks, the world breaks with us." He stared at the horizon, the stars twinkling like distant eyes. "I can feel the planet," he said. "Every heartbeat, every breath of wind. It's like it's alive inside me now." Lyra smiled faintly. "You are part of it now. You gave it balance." He looked at her. "And you?" She turned away, her golden hair catching the moonlight. "The bond was meant to feed only one side," she said quietly. "The human heart is not meant to hold the hunger of a world. The balance will demand a price." Raiden frowned. "A price?" Her voice trembled. "The one who carries the light must surrender." He stood up sharply. "No." She met his gaze, her eyes shining with tears. "Raiden, listen to me," she said. "The bond needs a living anchor. One mind strong enough to keep the hunger asleep. You were never meant to stay here. You have a home among the stars." "I was born for this world," he shook his head. "You think I could leave after all this? After everything we've done together?" Her smile broke into sorrow. "You must. If you stay, the bond will consume you. You'll become part of the planet. You'll forget who you are." Raiden's chest ached. He looked down at his hands, the silver glow now brighter, the threads crawling up his arms. "Maybe that's not such a bad thing," he said softly. Lyra reached out, her massive hand trembling as she touched his shoulder with a single finger. "You are not meant to die for us," she whispered. "You are meant to remind us how to live." A distant rumble echoed across the valley. The Queen approached, her wings of light dimmed, her face no longer filled with anger but deep regret. Behind her came the elders, tall and ancient, their eyes glowing white. The Queen's voice was calm. "The planet is stable for now, but the balance cannot last forever," she said. "The bond must choose one host. If neither surrenders, both will fade." Lyra bowed her head. "Then I choose." Raiden stepped forward quickly. "No, I do." The air shimmered as the bond flared between them, silver and gold threads twisting together. The Queen raised her hand. "You must not fight it," she said. "The bond will choose truth, not words." The wind rose again, the forest glowed brighter. The planet's heartbeat quickened. Around them the air filled with whispers, voices of the world calling, pleading, remembering. Raiden felt his mind pulled open. Memories of Earth flashed before him. His ship, his crew, the stars, laughter, loneliness, then Lyra's face. Her smile, her courage, her kindness. The bond showed him both paths, one leading home, one staying here forever. Lyra saw the same. She saw his world, the cities in the sky, the blue oceans, the endless stars. "So small," she whispered, "and yet so full of hope." The light around them turned blinding. The Queen shouted something, but her words vanished in the roar of energy. The bond was deciding. Raiden looked at Lyra one last time. "You gave me something I never thought I'd find again," he said. "A reason to stay?" Lyra shook her head, tears glowing like molten gold. "And you gave us something we forgot. Mercy." She pressed her palm to her heart. "I surrender!" The light burst from her body, flowing into him. Raiden screamed as the energy tore through his veins. The world went silent, and then, for a moment, he saw everything, and every tree, every river, every life, all connected through the bond. The forest bent like it was breathing again. The mountains glowed. The Queen fell to her knees, whispering prayers. "The hunger sleeps once more," she said. "The world is healed." Raiden collapsed, his body glowing like a dying star. Lyra's massive hand cradled him gently. Her voice broke with emotion. "You shouldn't have," she whispered. He smiled weakly. "I didn't surrender, I shared." Her eyes widened. The silver glow spread from him into her chest, soft and steady. The bond no longer burned. It pulsed in harmony, not one feeding the other, but both sustaining each other. The queen watched in awe. "They have done the impossible," she whispered. "They have made the bond equal." Lyra looked at him, tears falling like rain. "What happens now?" Raiden looked at the stars above, his vision fading. "Now," he whispered, "we make a new beginning." His body shimmered, dissolving into threads of light that wrapped around her arm. Merging into her heart, the world sighed, the storm vanished. And dawn broke across Varnara. Lyra stood alone on the cliff, her eyes now glowing with silver and gold. "He is not gone," she said softly. "He is part of everything now." The queen bowed her head. "Then the human became the soul of a world," she said. Lyra looked to the sky where the stars still shone. "No," she whispered. "He became its heart." The wind carried his voice faintly through the forest. Calm and warm. "I'm still here, Lyra," it said, "always." The Starborn King, HFY Sci-Fi Story. The first dawn after the storm came in silence. The twin suns rose over the endless forests of Varnara, their light painting gold across the rivers and mountains. Every leaf shimmered, every stone hummed softly. The planet itself seemed to breathe again, alive and whole. Lyra stood on the same cliff where Raiden had vanished. Her armor cracked, her skin glowing faintly with silver fire. Inside her chest, the bond pulsed steadily. Half her, half him. The wind whispered his voice. "Soft and warm, you kept your promise." She smiled faintly. "And you kept yours," she whispered. Looking toward the sky, the queen approached slowly behind her. Her wings no longer bright with fire, but with calm light. "The world is changing," she said. "The hunger no longer whispers, the soil heals, the rivers sing." Lyra turned. "Because of him," she said softly. "Because a human cared more for us than we ever cared for ourselves." The queen nodded slowly. "Perhaps the stories were true," she said. "The first humans who walked among the stars carried hearts strong enough to heal worlds." Lyra looked at her hand, the small traces of silver still glowing under her skin. "He is still here," she said, "in me, in the roots." "In the wind." The queen lowered her gaze. "Then the Starborn has become one with Varnara," she said. "He will live as long as this world breathes." All across the realm, the giantesses gathered. They stood in fields of glowing grass and crystal trees. Their voices rose in ancient songs, singing of light and renewal for the first time in centuries. Their voices were not filled with hunger, but hope. Lyra walked among them, no longer the outcast. The people bowed their heads as she passed. They called her Keeper of the Heart, Daughter of the Starborn and Queen of the New Dawn. She stopped before the great silver tree, its roots now pulsing with calm blue light. The heart of Varnara, the place where the bond was made. She placed her hand upon it, and the light responded, spreading across the land like veins of life. "Raiden," she whispered, "they remember you." The wind shifted. "Carrying faint laughter, good," his voice echoed. "Because I remember them too." Lyra closed her eyes, a single golden tear falling down her cheek. It shimmered as it touched the earth, turning into a flower of silver light, the first of its kind, born from the bond between two worlds. As the suns climbed higher, strange lights began to appear in the sky, small blinking dots moving in formation. The queen looked up, her expression turning curious. "What are those?" Lyra smiled softly. "Ships," she said, "humans." The queen frowned. "Will they come for you?" Lyra shook her head. "No, they will come because they heard something. A signal, a heartbeat, high above in orbit. A fleet of human vessels hung in silence, their scanners picking up a signal they could barely understand. A steady rhythm like a pulse. Deep, slow, alive. The captain of the lead ship frowned. "That's no machine code," he said. "It's biological." Another officer spoke quietly. "Sir, it matches a human heart rate." The captain stared at the glowing planet below. "Then someone's down there," he said. "And whoever it is, they're calling us." Back on the surface, Lyra looked toward the heavens. "They will come," she said softly. "And when they do, tell them what we became." The queen nodded. "They will fear us at first," she said. "But they will see." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, they will." The ground pulsed again. Gentle and warm, The voice of the planet. Raiden's voice, whispered through every leaf. Guide them, Lyra. Show them what humanity means. She closed her eyes, her hand pressed to her heart. Together, she whispered, from that day forward, the legends of the Starborn spread through the galaxy. They spoke of a human who fell from the sky and turned an enemy world into a living paradise. They spoke of a bond that broke curses and healed hearts. And on Varnara, whenever the night came and the stars returned, the people of the giantesses would gather beneath the twin moons. They would look to the sky, and the queen would whisper to the wind. He came as a stranger, but he left as our king, far above. Among the stars, the signal continued steady, unending, a heartbeat echoing through space, and not a distress call, but a promise that somewhere, across the endless dark, humanity still remembered how to love. The galaxy would listen, and slowly the stars would answer.